going to return to tonight's suburban elections, and it was a big night for opponents of soon-to-be former Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Yes, Jason House, who beat her in a primary, wins at the Dolton mayor's seat in a landslide, and State Senator Napoleon Harris, who successfully kept her off the ballot in Thornton Township, will take over now as the township supervisor after winning by a wide margin.
WGN's Courtney Spinelli is live in Lansing at Napoleon Harris's watch party. Must be a big celebration there, Courtney.
Yeah, Jackie and Ray, the music is going. It's very loud in here, and just a few minutes ago, Harris made his victory speech thanking everybody, saying he is getting ready to get to work. Tonight is the time to celebrate. He's flanked by a lot of other politicians locally, including South Suburban, now Mayor Dolton. Jason House is here as well. He didn't want to comment tonight because he said this is time for Napoleon Harris to celebrate. A lot of others who are also on the Thornton Township ballot for other races as well here. And Tiffany Henyard, up until today, still felt that she had a good chance to win this race, even taking to social media to encourage people to get out and write her in.
It's your favorite super mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor / people supervisor.
Posting several videos on Facebook in the last few days, the self-proclaimed super mayor making a last-ditch effort to get votes as a write-in candidate. Tiffany Henyard ousted from the ballot after losing the Democratic nomination and failing a legal challenge that followed.
The people was always loving on me because I've always showed up and showed out for them, despite what the fake news was telling y'all.
Despite Henyard's confidence, many voters tell WGN they don't feel that way.
I had no intention of voting for her at all.
We've had a lot of negative attention in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, so I really wanted to bring some change.
Henyard looking to get back the township supervisor seat, where she makes about $240,000 a year, a salary not guaranteed for her successor. On the ballot, State Senator Napoleon Harris III leading the Democratic ticket, Independent Nate Fields Jr. and Republican Richard Nolan, plus Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark as the Reform Party candidate, despite saying in February he was done.
It's been an embarrassment and a stain on South Holland to have South Holland continue to pop up on the news with her acting crazy, in meetings and stuff like that.
While the dysfunction in Dolton first took front page, most recently it was the troubles in Thornton Township that made headlines.
I didn't like seeing the disruption and change, and I wanted to go back to the way it was.
Henyard's run at township supervisor, her only hope for a South Suburban political office this election cycle. She was defeated by Dolton senior trustee Jason House in the mayoral primary, putting him on the ballot against Cassandra Hobson-Jordan.
We really have been showing teamwork and camaraderie amongst the community. I think that we've demonstrated that we have the skills and the knowledge, and we're going to just take this thing home.
House confident Tuesday while talking with voters.
Our plans for tonight is just to have a modest celebration and get ready to go to work.
And that's pretty much the same message that now mayoral-elect Jason House also echoed to us tonight. He says he's tired. He's so thankful for everyone's support and, again, ready to get to work. We have not heard yet from Mayor Tiffany Henyard or Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, if you will. Now, out of both positions as of tonight, she has not conceded in any sort of statement or speech. She was posting earlier on social media, but this really is likely the nail in her political coffin here in the South Suburbs, because these were her two last chances, at least in this election cycle, to run for a position. For now, live in Lansing, Courtney Spinelli, WGN News.
All right, change in the South Suburbs.
Election night in the Chicago area, with suburban voters casting their ballots to elect mayors, trustees, and more. We have live TV coverage tonight. Political reporter Chris Ty is keeping us updated with results in the sphere. But first, our Jermont Terry is in South Suburban Lansing. It was a landslide victory for Jason House there, who easily won that mayoral race tonight by more than 3,000 votes. You'll notice incumbent Tiffany Henyard was not even on the ballot. Jermont is live at House's victory party now. Jermont.
Yes, Erica, I'm at the victory party for the two people who ran against Tiffany Henyard in both of her positions as mayor and also as Thornton supervisor. She did not prevail, as you mentioned, in any of those races, and that gives indication to the voters that they wanted change. The sign outside of Dolton Village Hall announcing Mayor Tiffany Henyard will soon come down. voters overwhelmingly decided they wanted change. That change came with Jason House winning Tuesday night with 95% of the vote.
Feels amazing, but most important is the change of times for the community, and it shows that we are really united, looking for a new direction and a new day.
This victory turns him from trustee into mayor-elect. House campaigned on cleaning house. This after the small South suburban community gained the national spotlight by the antics, questionable spending, and federal probes surrounding the one-term mayor, Hilliard. House now has the task of getting Dolton back on track, starting with trying to get the village out of the red.
We're going to make sure that we do the most intelligent things in common sense. We're not wasting money on security details. We're going to look at expenses and make sure that they're prudent. We're responsible with it.
House celebrated with Thornton Township Democratic Party committeeman Napoleon Harris. Harris ousted Hilliard off the ballot from Thornton Township supervisor and ran himself.
This is illegal.
This is illegal in your opinion?
Illegal.
Okay.
He was also victorious in his race for the seat, winning with 75% of the vote. His win means Hilliard is now out of both jobs, as supervisor and mayor. While her political career is on hold, the investigations into wrongdoing continue to advance in grand jury inquiries. House says it's imperative the village and township look to the future.
Is how do we clean up the community? Whatever has been done in the past has to be addressed and accounted for, and our mandate is to make sure that we pick up the pieces and move the community forward together.
And here in Lansing, this victory party for both Jason House and Napoleon Harris is still going on, winding down. Many of the people have been out for the majority of the night. I've seen them leave out with big smiles saying change is coming and victory was tonight. A clear indication that they were over Tiffany Hilliard. Reporting live in Lansing tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS News, Chicago.
Oh, we're feeling amazing. We had a great turnout. We didn't have the turnout that we were looking for, but we had a good turnout of people. Everybody's united, and we want to move the village forward.
Can you talk about what you want to do as soon as you hit the ground? What do you want to start focusing on? You haven't already.
We've been working on it already. Transparency, making sure that we have information the community needs, and rebuilding that trust.
What do you think about the voters? Do you think this was them speaking on what they want?
I think they were speaking unitedly, and that's the biggest thing. We want to stay together. We want to increase our turnout, increase communication, and just move the village forward.
And you will be sworn in 21 days?
I'll be sworn in May 5th.
May 5th?
Yes.
May 5th. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right.
Congratulations.
All right, well, it's Election Day in many suburbs, and it is a big one. Sandra Torres is live for us at one we've been watching for quite a while in Dolton. Sandra, what's the latest there?
Well, we know that the race here for mayor in Dolton has been heating up for months, especially due to the current mayor, Tiffany Hilliard. She's been under investigation, being accused of misusing village funds. So now her name will soon come down from the municipal building as two candidates are running to unseat her, essentially. And this morning we talked to some voters, and this is how they're feeling as they head to the polls.
I came out because we have to affect change in Dolton, and it's very important. I was actually traveling and forgot today was election day, and I saw you guys on the news, so I had to run over here and cast my vote.
We visited Lincoln Elementary here in Dolton, one of the polling sites for the village, and that's where Democratic mayoral candidate Jason House casted his vote today. He won the primary with 88% of the vote, defeating incumbent Mayor Tiffany Hilliard. House is running against independent candidate Cassandra Hobson-Jordan. We reached out to her for comment today, but did not get a response yet. But House did talk to us. He said that he hopes Dolton residents show up in force on this election day.
I would love to see more people than the primary. The early results are showing that it's slightly below the primary, but I still think we're going to have a good turnout, and I think Dolton's going to turn out bigger than most communities.
Now, we're also following the race for Thornton Township supervisor today. Hilliard is currently in that role, and while voters will not see her name on the ballot, she still plans to be a part of the race as a write-in candidate. The Democratic candidate in this race is State Senator and Democratic Party committeeman Napoleon Harris. He won the Township's Democratic Party caucus just a few months ago. So Harris is running against several other candidates, including Republican Richard Nolan. So polls close at at 7 p.m. tonight, and we'll be following developments throughout the day. Reporting live in Dolton, Sandra Torres, NBC 5 News.
Sandra, thank you. Some other key races we're watching in South Suburban Orland Park. Incumbent Mayor Keith Pekow is facing a tough challenge from Republican Jim Dodge. And then in Aurora, Republican Mayor Richard Irvin cast his vote today. He faces Alderman John Lash, who has support from the state Democratic Party. We'll have all of the election results online as well as on air tonight at 10 o'clock.
It is also Election Day today in many Chicago suburbs. Voters are going to the polls to pick mayors, county officials, and school board members all across the area.
Yeah, it is not a big day in Illinois. It's crucial, and also not just in Illinois. The Supreme Court in Wisconsin has a really big race that's actually receiving national attention. Political reporter Marianne Ahern here now with the very latest. So much going on.
There is a lot going on today. Good afternoon to you. We are watching several heated races. Let's start with Arlington Heights. One of the candidates, Jim Tenalia, voted this morning. He's a trustee of Arlington Heights and has received the endorsement of the outgoing mayor, Tom Hayes. Also on the ballot, John Riddler and Tom Schwingback. The big issue, what if the Chicago Bears relocate to the old Arlington Heights racetrack, and how will the new mayor handle that huge project? In the south suburbs, Orland Park Mayor Keith Pekow faces a challenge from a former neighbor and a former friend, Jim Dodge. It's been a nasty personal fight with robo-attack calls from both sides. It is viewed as business versus labor. Pekow has business support. Dodge is a favorite of several unions. Also, we will be keeping an eye tonight on what happens in Aurora. Incumbent Richard Irvin is in a rematch with Aurora Alderman John Lash. The state Democratic Party, led by Governor J.B. Pritzker, has gotten involved in trying to oust Irvin. Irvin, as you might recall, ran and lost in the GOP primary for governor in 2022.
Yeah, and that was a race that would have pitted him against Pritzker.
Right.
All right, so now the big race in Wisconsin. What are you hearing about the Supreme Court race?
Well, all eyes on that one, because this will end up being the most expensive judicial race ever in the country. There are questions about Elon Musk and his PAC offering today $50 to those who post a picture with a Wisconsin resident outside of a voting location. There are questions about whether or not that is legal. Musk supports the Republican candidate, and others, like Barack Obama and J.B. Pritzker, support the Democratic candidate. It is also seen as a real test of where do voters stand 70 days into the Trump presidency. That's why there's so much attention, and we'll just be keeping an eye on all of those tonight.
All right. Thanks so much, Marianne.
See you later, Marianne.
Don't forget, we will have all of the election results tonight. Marianne will be here this evening. Check NBCChicago.com starting after 7 o'clock when they start to come in, and then catch up with us tonight at 10 o'clock for a full recap.
Now to Decision 2025. It is Election Day in many Chicago suburbs, and two of the contests that we're watching very closely in the south suburbs are the mayor's race in Dolton and the supervisor's race in Thornton Township. Both of those bodies are currently run by controversial politician Tiffany Henyard. Regina Waldrop has covered these communities extensively for years. She joins us live in Dolton now with big changes they're about to see. Regina.
Indeed, Alex. Tiffany Henyard's name not on the ballot for either of those positions, but she is a write-in candidate for Thornton Township Supervisor, a position that she has held since 2022. Decision day for some suburban voters.
Came out because we have to affect change in Dolton, and it's very important.
Vying for mayor of Dolton, Jason House, a Democrat, and independent Cassandra Jordan Hobson. House is a senior trustee who's pledged to implement new standards of transparency and integrity if elected. Jordan Hobson is a contractor who plans to focus on finances and rebuilding the community if she's elected. In the township race, Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, a Democrat, Republican Richard Nolan, independent Nate Fields Jr., and Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark. They're all on the ballot. Incumbent Tiffany Henyard is running as a write-in candidate. Here's what some voters told us is important to them.
It's very important that we bring change to Dolton specifically. There are too many negative storylines in this city, and government should be boring.
I felt that I needed to be a part of making Dolton what Dolton should be, and not the laughingstock of what people think Dolton is right now.
Currently holding two powerful positions, Mayor of Dolton and Township Supervisor, Tiffany Henyard lost her bid for a second term as mayor in the primary election. Her tenure in both positions has been filled with drama. She's currently under federal investigation, accused of questionable spending of village finances and retaliation. She's also named in dozens of lawsuits by former employees and business owners. Henyard has denied any wrongdoing. So some key decisions in local government happening here today. And of course, we will have a live report on everything coming up tonight at 10. Reporting from Dolton, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you. Voters in Wisconsin are also heading to the polls today. It is the first election in a swing state since President Trump took office, in any swing state, actually. The most high-profile race up for grabs is Wisconsin's Supreme Court. The contest between liberals Susan Crawford and conservative Brad Schimmel has drawn millions of dollars in outside money and will decide if liberals maintain control of the court. Today, voters heading to the polls say they are aware of the stakes, both locally and nationally.
We're the purplest of the purple states right now, so it's important for people to come out and make sure their voice is heard.
Our outcome will influence what happens, a lot, in the country.
Among the backers funneling cash into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race is billionaire Elon Musk, who held a rally in Wisconsin over the weekend. And don't forget, we are your source for all of the election night results. Check NBCChicago.com after 7 o'clock when they start to come in, and then get a full recap with us on the NBC5.
Voters in several suburbs are casting ballots in some key races. Our Winnie Dorch has more on our top story.
Good morning, guys. The most notable election is taking place in Dolton. Jason House won the primary election for mayor in February, defeating incumbent Tiffany Henyard after a series of controversies involving questionable spending. House will now run against Cassandra Hopkins-Jordan. Henyard is running as a write-in candidate. In Aurora, the current mayor, Richard Irvin, will take on Alderman John Lash. He lost the mayoral race against Irvin in 2021. In Arlington Heights, three candidates will face off to become mayor. That's Jim Timonaglia, Tom Schwingbeck, and John Rittler. For decades, current mayor Tom Hayes has held office but announced last year that he would not seek re-election. The biggest issue on the table is the future of a potential Bears stadium. In Orland Park, Mayor Keith Pekow is seeking a third term, going against former longtime village trustee Jim Dodge. Pekow says he's helped improve village streets and parks. Dodge says being better stewards of taxpayer money is the goal. He is also critical of spending on a concert venue at Centennial Park West. Now, polls are open until 7 p.m. We'll have the results online when they start coming in our news tonight at 9. In the newsroom,
suburbs are headed for the polls today with much at stake.
Winnie is in the newsroom with a look at some of the key races. Winnie?
Yeah, good morning. The most notable election is taking place in Dolton. Jason House won the primary election for mayor in February, defeating incumbent Tiffany Henyard after a series of controversies involving questionable spending. House will now run against Cassandra Hopkins-Jordan. Henyard is running as a write-in candidate. Over in Aurora, the current mayor, Richard Irvin, will take on Alderman John Lash. He lost the mayoral race against Irvin in 2021. In Arlington Heights, three candidates will face off to become mayor: Jim Timonaglia, Tom Schwingbeck, and John Rittler. For decades, current mayor Thomas Hayes has held office but announced last year that he will not seek re-election. The biggest issue on the table is the future of a potential Bears stadium. In Orland Park, Mayor Keith Pekow is seeking a third term, going against former longtime village trustee Jim Dodge. Pekow says he's helped improve village streets and parks. Dodge says being better stewards of taxpayer money is the goal. He is also critical of spending on a concert venue at Centennial Park West. Now, polls are open until 7 p.m. We'll have the results online when they start coming in and on our news tonight at 9. In the newsroom, Winnie Dorch, WGN News.
Thanks, Winnie.
Now to Election Day across our area. While no voting is going on in Chicago, plenty of our largest suburbs do have voters who are going to the polls. Political reporter Chris Ty live for us now to break down some of those big races where, Chris, there is a lot on the line.
There is a lot on the line, Marie. Voters deciding all day around here. Activity in Evanston, Waukegan, Dolton among them. Though here at 4 o'clock, we're taking a look at three of the biggest suburbs around the Chicagoland area, and we are starting up to the northwest suburbs up in Arlington Heights, where Three-term Mayor Tom Hayes not running for a fourth term. In the running, these three gentlemen: Chamber of Commerce Executive Director John Riddler, Village Trustee Tom Schwingbeck, and Village Trustee Jim Tenaglia. A big focus here, the possible Bears move to the old Arlington Park site. All three have committed support to that. Some varying degrees, though, as long as they get as much as they can for their suburb. We'll be watching this one tonight. Another one we're watching very closely further west to Aurora. Richard Irvin, of course, a well-known face around here, sitting mayor of Aurora. John Lash is his challenger. He is a councilman presently. Irvin says the city's on solid financial footing and that schools and safety are on the incline. Lash has loudly called out Irvin for what he calls major ethical issues and pay-to-play schemes where donors are awarded big city contracts. Irvin says that is simply not true and that contractors can donate to whoever they want. Lash, by the way, also wants to draw down the city's debt and turn the city more green, focus on improving streetlights, curbs, and water lines. The last one we want to touch on here, Marie, at 4 o'clock. Takes us to the south side. This is Orland Park, of course, a heated and at times nasty race between incumbent Mayor Keith Pekow, who lost a recent congressional race, and his challenger here, Jim Dodge. He is a former village trustee. Dodge is a consultant who's running on civility and better fiscal management in Orland Park. The Tribune framing this race as strikingly personal. Pekow running for a third term under the brand People Over Politics, supporting nonpartisan politics, of course. Dodge is running for his part under the banner Orland Park for All, promising pragmatic solutions to unite the community. Polls close in just a couple hours. We'll have full results tonight.
2025. It is election day in many Chicago suburbs, and two of the contests that we're watching very closely in the south suburbs are the mayor's race in Dolton and the supervisor's race in Thornton Township. Both of those bodies are currently run by controversial politician Tiffany Henyard. Regina Waldrop has covered these communities extensively for years. She joins us live in Dolton now with big changes they're about to see. Regina.
Indeed, Alex. Tiffany Henyard's name not on the ballot for either of those positions, but she is a write-in candidate for Thornton Township Supervisor, a position that she has held since 2022. Decision day for some suburban voters.
Came out because we have to affect change in Dolton, and it's very important.
Vying for mayor of Dolton, Jason House, a Democrat, and independent Cassandra Jordan Hobson. House is a senior trustee who's pledged to implement new standards of transparency and integrity if elected. Jordan Hobson is a contractor who plans to focus on finances and rebuilding the community if she's elected. In the township race, Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, a Democrat, Republican Richard Nolan, independent Nate Fields Jr., and Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark. They're all on the ballot. Incumbent Tiffany Henyard is running as a write-in candidate. Here's what some voters told us is important to them.
It's very important that we bring change to Dolton specifically. There are too many negative storylines in this city, and government should be boring.
I felt that I needed to be a part of making Dolton what Dolton should be, and not the laughingstock of what people think Dolton is right now.
Currently holding two powerful positions, mayor of Dolton and township supervisor, Tiffany Henyard lost her bid for a second term as mayor in the primary election. Her tenure in both positions has been filled with drama. She's currently under federal investigation, accused of questionable spending of village finances and retaliation. She's also named in dozens of lawsuits by former employees and business owners. Henyard has denied any wrongdoing. So some key decisions in local government happening here today. And of course, we will have a live report on everything coming up tonight at 10. Reporting from Dolton, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.